Now here's something I thought might be interesting to comment on. There's a couple of videos circulating at the moment on Instagram feeds from Pakistan, and it's basically a clash between a cyclist and the owner of a Nissan GTR, an R35, which oddly, although it's in Pakistan, seems to have German number plates on it, and it says Madzilla on it. I don't think those are real number plates. Anyway, the situation is, or from what I can surmise, it's not really clear exactly what's happened, so it's kind of hard to put it into context, and it's kind of hard to talk about it fairly. But there's an altercation. I tell you what, take a look at the video. So there's two videos actually circulating. One is from the point of view of the cyclist, and the other is from the point of view of the driver himself. So let's look at the driver one first, and then we'll look at the cyclist one.
ये तुम्हारे बाप का रोड है। मैंने इस गाड़ी के ऊपर 4 करोड़ पे ड्यूटी भरी है। पाकिस्तान गवर्नमेंट को 4 करोड़ पे
तुम भगा सकते हो
जी,
गाड़ी भगा सकते हो।
भगाऊंगा।
यहाँ पे
कोई रोड है?
बंदे मरे जो वहाँ पे
मैंने मारे बंदे लाइसेंस के गाड़ी चला रहे थे।
तुम्हारी बाप की रोड है, तुम किसकी रोड है?
तो किसकी रोड है ये?
तो मेरे बाप की भी है। फिर भाई
तो
चलो जेल में, अभी चलो कलेक्टर थाने। चलो साहब फिर आ गए यहाँ पे GTR लेके। अल्लाह जाने इनका नाम क्या है?
फात काकड़ नाम है।
फात काकड़ नाम है। ये इनका, ये इनकी नंबर प्लेट है, GTR पे आए।
एक बंदे हैं, मुझे
मेरा नाम है जामी, नाम है, मैंने कोई गाली नहीं दी।
ये तुम्हारे बाप का रोड है। मैंने इस गाड़ी के ऊपर 4 करोड़ पे ड्यूटी भरी है पाकिस्तान को। पाकिस्तान गवर्नमेंट को 4 करोड़ पे ड्यूटी भरी है जी। बिल्कुल भगाऊंगा।
यहाँ पे कोई रोड है? बंदे मरे जो वहाँ पे।
मैंने मारे बंदे बगैर लाइसेंस के गाड़ी चला रहे थे। बगैर लाइसेंस के गाड़ी चला रहे थे वो लोग।
बाप की रोड है, तुम
किसकी रोड है? तो किसकी रोड है ये?
तो मेरे बाप की भी है।
फिर तो चलाओ
जेल में,
चलो आ जाओ
वही पहुंचोगे। मैं बात तेरे पहुंचूंगा। भागना नहीं,
आ जाओ साथ
भागना नहीं,
नहीं भागना। आ जाओ।
अबे मैं कट्टू भी नहीं भागूंगा। मैं समाज में ही चल रहा था।
आ जाओ ना, आ जाओ। चलो
ठीक है, मैं तेरा भागना नहीं,
साथ चलो।
Right, so there you go. Those are the videos that are out there. And again, like I said, it's hard to know exactly what happened and what caused this issue, why the driver pulled over, why they were having this discussion in the first place. But there are a few interesting things that you can take away from this. The cyclist is clearly upset. And I'm not a cyclist myself, and certainly I'm not a fan of cyclists, or cycling, I should say, myself. And, you know, sometimes you do get the feeling that they are a little bit self-righteous and a little bit indignant because, you know, they are, you know, cycling their little legs off whilst we're sitting there, you know, in this case sitting here in my Mustang 5.0 with a convertible. So that maybe is maybe not conducive to their sort of outlook on things at the time when they're cycling, so you can understand that. But having said that, the guy's on a bicycle and he's just cycling down the road. He's got safety gear on, so he's clearly being responsible about it. But then you turn to the driver. Now, as a car guy, I should be on the side of the driver. Now, maybe I've interpreted this wrong. My Urdu is not fantastic, but okay, so this is how I've interpreted or the conversation as it went. The cyclist is basically saying that that guy was speeding on that road. He was speeding on a road where some people had died earlier, or they had been killed, or they'd crashed, or something like that. I'm not exactly aware of what happened. The driver retorts quite rightly. It's like, well, I wasn't responsible for those deaths. I wasn't the one driving. It's nothing to do with me. That's fair enough. However, what is a little bit more controversial, what is maybe a little bit more difficult for me to take in, is his kind of attitude that he brings. Now, understandably, it may be that he's just riled. He's just unhappy that he's being affronted or accosted by this cyclist, and why should he be? He's out there, he's just having a nice drive in his wonderful car. What's going on here? Maybe he just got a bit too riled up, maybe he just got a bit too angry, maybe he just said things that maybe were out of character for him, and maybe he shouldn't have, that he wouldn't normally say. However, what it sounded like to me that he said is that, well, I've just bought this car and I've given 4 crore, what's that, 40 million rupees or something like that, and I've just given this amount to the government in taxes on this car, and so therefore I can drive however I like here. That's what it sounded like to me. Okay, if I'm wrong, correct me, by all means put it in the comment, but that's what it sounded like to me, and I'm sorry, but that's blatantly wrong. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not fully aware of the traffic laws in Pakistan and on the roads of Karachi, and I have been there, and in previous years I've driven there, and I've been there over the winter, and I saw the driving, and honestly it doesn't feel like there are many road laws at all, except those which are chosen to be applied by whatever traffic cop is standing there and hoping to earn a little bit of extra money that evening. I'm just saying, I'm not accusing anybody of corruption, but I'm just saying, but it just seemed to be very haphazard. But I have to assume, because they are public roads, that there must be a speed limit. Surely there must be a speed limit. And I know that a Nissan GTR is an extremely fast car. I know that from personal experience. And the quicker you go, the quicker you want to go. It's that sort of car. And I can obviously understand the frustrations of somebody like that in a car like that, where, you know, maybe you don't have the roads, you don't have the space, and there's no racetracks that can accommodate cars. I know there's some great karting tracks there, and I did do a video on a new karting track in Karachi. Check that out on my channel. But I can understand that. I can understand that. I live in northwest London, and I'm in a 5-litre Mustang. You know, by the time, you know, I've got out first gear, I'm already going too fast. I've already run out of road, or I'm going to hit a speed bump or a traffic light or whatever, or there's traffic, you know. So I can totally identify with those frustrations. To really get the best out of this car, I have to go about an hour and a half out of London, honestly, to find some roads which are empty and quiet, and where I can feel that I can comfortably do that. Now, that brings me to the point. You know, I'm not against fast cars, and certainly, you know, if you know me, you know I love cars, you know I love fast cars, you know I love driving them, and I like to drive them as they should be driven. However, I do not drive cars quickly in environments where they shouldn't be, such as in a congested public or city urban area where there are other road users. And I think in this particular case, what I think really bothered me was that the driver seemed to be saying, is because I've spent so much money on this car, I have a right to do whatever I like. If I want to race it down this road, then I'm going to race it down this road. And that I'm sorry, but that's just wrong. I mean, you cannot, especially when there are other road users there, and there are people on cycles and bicycles, and I'm sure they're on rickshaws and other cars and what have you. And you know, I've been seeing a lot of footage recently coming out of Pakistan. I don't know if it's a development or if it's just because of social media or whatever, where there's quite a few crashes that you see on the roads, presumably of Pakistan, because you're never quite 100% sure where they are, but from the cars and from number plates and things you can tell. And there seems to be a lot of people driving excessively fast for the conditions, because the traffic, the way that people drive, and the surfaces of the roads are not ideal for fast cars. And you just think, you know, you need to be a little bit circumspect, you need to be more careful, not needlessly throw away your life and endanger the life of other people. I should be on the side of the driver in this case, not the side of the cyclist. I'm not a huge fan of cyclists, as I said, but the thing is that that approach, that I've spent this much money on this car, therefore I can drive it however I like, is not correct. And that's irresponsible. You know, it's not even about the law anymore, it's just irresponsible. You know, and it's the reason why us car people are getting a bad cred around the world, you know, because people are like, oh, these are just flashy people in flash cars, and they just don't care about anyone else, and they just want to drive their cars fast all the time. It's not true. It's not the case. And unfortunately, when things like that happen, it gives a bad name to all of us. You know, just maybe think about that. And let's just be more courteous, and let's just be more accommodating, and let's just be more respectful of everybody else on the road.
A big shout out and thanks to Jay Williams over at Air Technic, who are top tier sponsors of Brown Car Guy. Check them out at Air Technic Co UK for exhausts, brakes, suspension and body kits. Plus our other major sponsor, Nayagen Solutions. Much appreciation also to Tier 4 sponsors, Muhammad Ali Humaid, Tom Conway Gordon and Reza Adil. And of course all these other guys who supporting on Patreon. Brown Car Guy is eternally grateful. Hey, think about joining them over at patreon.com Brown Car Guy. If you can't, don't worry. Just make sure you're subscribing to the YouTube channel and website. Plus follow on social media by searching for Brown Car Guy.